Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our November 2nd council meeting. And I think I'll start it with an acknowledgement. First of all, we acknowledge that we live, work, and gather on the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin people, specifically the Temiskaming First Nations. We recognize the presence of the Temiskaming First Nation in our community since time immemorial and honor their long history of welcoming many nations to this beautiful territory and uphold and uplift their voice and values. I'll ask for the roll call, please.
Your Worship, all members of council are present.
Thank you very much. Item number 3 is review and of revisions or deletion to the agenda. Anything we need to add or delete at this point? Hearing and seeing none, we've got a motion be resolved that City Council approves the agenda as printed. Mover and seconder, Councillor MacArthur, second by Councillor Foley. All in favor? That is carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature tonight? Seeing and hearing none, we'll go on to the item number 6, review and adoption of the council minutes. I got a motion be resolved that City Council approves the following minutes as printed. A, the regular meeting of council held on October the 19th, 2021. So, mover and seconder, Councillor Jelly, second by Councillor LaFerrier. All in favor? That is carried. There's no public meetings pursuant to the Planning Act, Municipal Act, or other statutes tonight. We reached our first question and answer period. Is there any questions from the chat box? So we'll move on. There's no presentation tonight. Going into item number 10, the communications. 10A is a letter from the Rural Ontario Municipal Association. It's actually the annual report for 2020 received for our information. 10B is a letter from Mr. Jocelyn Blay, a resident, a request to facilitate the flow-through funds from the Temiskaming Foundation to the Niska Leadership Fund. And there's a motion to be presented under new business for that. 10C is a letter from the Honourable Peter Bethenfalvey, the Minister of Finance, regarding the 2022 funding allocations on the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund. That was received on October the 21st for our information and referred on to the Treasurer. And 10D is a letter from Kelly Black, the Chief Administrative Officer for the Temiskaming District Social Services Administration Board. It's regarding the third quarter update to the municipalities received on October the 22nd for information. So that's all the correspondence. I've got a motion be resolved the City Council agrees to deal with communication item 10A through 10D according to the agenda references. Moving a second for that motion, Councillor Jelly. Second by Councillor Whalen. Any comments on the correspondence? All in favor? That is carried. Committees of Council, Community and Regional. Motions be resolved that the following minutes be accepted for information. A, the minutes of the Business Improvement Area Board of Management meetings held on August the 23rd, September the 20th, and October the 4th. B is the minutes of the District of Temiskaming Coastal Services Administrative Board being held on September the 15th, 2021. And C is the minutes of the Temiskaming Shores Public Library Board meeting held on September the 22nd, 2021. So, mover and second, Councillor Ferrier, seconded by Councillor Foley. Any comments on the 3 sets of minutes? All in favor? That is carried. There's no committees of council, the internal department reports tonight. I'll get on to the reports by members of council. Anybody got reports? Councillor Whalen?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Kidd. Just an update that Temiskaming Municipal Association held their annual general meeting on November 28th, and Lois Perry will continue as chair for TMA. So,
Councillor Jelly?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll step out of my role as a councillor for a minute and just speak as president of the Branch 33 of Legion. You had asked me just to let you know what was going on this year on Remembrance Day, the 11th. We will be conducting basically the same service that we did last year. We're not opening it to the public per se. If people want to come down, they'd have to stand across the road. We will block the parking lane in front of the cenotaph, and that's mainly so we can get our 2 veterans in there safely. and we will put it out live over our Facebook page. All the wreaths will be pre-laid, with the exception of the ones from the city, if the city wished to lay theirs. The reason being is a narrow sidewalk and the close proximity that people would have to interact. So it'll be a shorter service this year too. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Just one update as far as I'm concerned. I had a meeting with the Team Highway 11 North committee this afternoon there, and so a couple of the issues that came up there was their truck rest stop that's being considered for Martin River. They're looking at constructing that in 2023, so that should be a good project there to get some people to transport off the road and get them to a rest area. They actually announced the contracts for starting in June of 2023. This area is going back to IMOS, the Lisker and Cochrane areas, and from North Bay South goes to Ballard Construction. So they've announced that already as well. So, and just they have a little bit of an update, and Mark Wilson was at our TMA meeting as well. But Rob Long from the MTO mentioned that they're getting close to making their selection as to where this 2+1 highway pilot project is going to be located there. So they've narrowed it down to 5 different sites across Ontario. So hopefully before the end of the year, they're going to make that announcement as to where this pilot project is going to go, and then they can finish the engineering and construct that, whatever length of highway, whether it's 10 or 20 kilometers for that pilot project. So just a few interesting things there. I think that's all I have. Anything else anybody else wants to bring forward? If not, there's no notice of motions tonight. We're in the new business. 15A is approval of the attendance at the 2022 Rural Ontario Municipal Association Conference. And I've got a motion be resolved that Council for the City of Twisting Shores approves the attendance of myself and Councillor Doug Jelly at the virtual Rural Ontario Municipal Association Conference scheduled for January 24th and January 25th. And the Council acknowledges that Councillor Danny Whalen will also be attending the virtual Rural Conference as President of the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities. And further be resolved that registration and expenses incurred for attending the conference be covered in accordance with the municipal business travel and expense policy. So, the movement, Councillor LaFerrier, second by Councillor Foley. All in favor? That is carried. 15B is a request to facilitate the flow-through funds from the Temiskaming Foundation for the Niska Leadership Fund. And I got a motion, whereas Council for the City of Twisting Shores received a letter dated October the 21st, 2021 from Mr. Jocelyn Blay requesting that the City of Twisting Shores facilitate the flow-through of funds from the Temiskaming Foundation to the Niska Leadership and Entrepreneurship Fund to a not-for-profit corporation known as Niska Leadership Center for their distribution to approved recipients. And whereas the interest generated from the fund will be used to assist the development of innovative ideas and projects from entrepreneurs and social enterprises to help the development and strengthening of our Northeastern Ontario communities. And whereas the not-for-profit corporation, which will be established in 2021, will also play a very important mentorship and networking role for the advancement of ideas and projects. Now therefore be resolved that Council for the City of Twisting Shores hereby approves being a sponsor of the Niska Leadership and Entrepreneurship Fund through the Temiskaming Foundation, and agrees to flow the interest earned to a non-for-profit corporation known as Niska Leadership Center for the distribution to approved recipients. Moved by Councillor Whalen, second by Councillor Ferrier. Any comments? All in favor? That would be carried. 15C is a memo 038 2021 CS City Hall holiday hours. I got a motion to be resolved that Council for the City of Twisting Shores acknowledge receipt of memo 038 2021 CS, and the Council approves the following City Hall openings or operating schedule during the 2021 holiday season. So there'll be normal hours of operation for Friday, December the 24th, and then they'll be closed the 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st, and then reopen again on the 3rd, I guess it is, January. It's a Monday, okay, it could be probably the 4th of January that we'll be opening back up again. So we're moving a second for that motion. Move to Councillor MacArthur, second by Councillor Jelly. Any comments? Councillor Jelly.
Yes, Your Worship. I have a little concern after reading, and if I read it wrong, please correct me. The 3 days that were closed, I believe that's to be used by either this year's vacation, next year's vacation, or without pay. I do have a bit of a concern with that without pay, or I'm not sure what the agreements read, whether it's holidays after a year or holidays in a year. We do have some employees here that haven't been here that long. I'm kind of concerned in the precedent that it's setting, allowing you to use next year's holidays this year. I'm just afraid, that might in the future come back to hurt us. I'm not opposed. I mean, if people are in agreement of doing that, that's fine. I'm just concerned of what we're opening up here by allowing people to use the following year's holidays if necessary. And the fact that they're off without pay if they don't have it, and hopefully that doesn't interfere with any of their benefits if something should happen during that 3 days that they're off and not receiving remuneration from the city. I'd just like some clarity on that.
Shelley, could you address that? I mean, it's something I think all the staff have agreed to.
Yep, so most of the staff, there would be only one employee that wouldn't have enough days to cover the 3 days. So she would be taking those without pay. And it would just be this year's holidays that are taken, not next.
That clarify everything there?
Yeah, she said there's just one employee and that employee is okay with this? Okay, is there a danger of this spreading into our other departments?
So as far as Public Works, the winter control operations schedule is already out, and they still have their stat holidays and holidays in lieu figured out that way. As far as recreation, I think it's the same, so our arena would be closed on the 25th, 26th. So I haven't heard of any issues in the other departments. This would just strictly be City Hall, which we've done in the past.
Okay, I mean, like I said, I don't have an issue if everybody's in favor of it, as long as it's not opening a can of worms. That's all I'm concerned about. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Shelley. All in favor of this motion? That'd be carried. 15D is Administrative Report CS 044-2021, the shared building services with the municipality of Temiskaming. And I can motion be resolved, the council for the city of Twisting Shores acknowledge receipt of Administrative Report CS 044-2021, and the council directs staff to prepare the necessary bylaw to enter into a shared services agreement with the municipality of Temiskaming for consideration at the November 2nd, 2021 regular council meeting. So, moved by Councillor MacArthur, second by Councillor Foley. And this is the same agreement that we've had with them for the last couple of years as well. So any questions, comments? All in favor? That is carried. 15E is Memo 020-2021 PW, the amendment to Bylaw 2021-095, being in agreement with Jade Equipment for the rental of motor graders. And I got a motion be resolved, the council for the city of Twisting Shores acknowledge receipt of Memo 020-2021 PW. And the council directs staff to prepare the necessary bylaw to amend Bylaw 2021-095 for the short-term rental of one tandem drive motor grader and two six-wheel drive graders with Jade Equipment Company Limited for the addition of a rental agreement as Appendix 2 to the Schedule A for consideration at the November 2nd, 2021 regular council meeting. So, moved by Councillor Whalen, second by Councillor Jelly. Any comments, questions? All in favor? That is carried. 15F was Administrative Report PW 023-2021, the annual landfill monitoring and reporting contract extension. And the motion reads, be resolved, the council for the city of Twisting Shores acknowledges receipt of Administrative Report PW 023-2021, and the council directs staff to prepare the necessary amendment to Bylaw 2013-054 to extend the current agreement with Wood, formerly AMAC Foster Wheeler, for another one year, 2022, at a cost of $67,364 plus applicable taxes for consideration at the November 2nd, 2021 regular council meeting. So, moving and second to Councillor Ferrier, second by Councillor Foley. Any comments? All in favor? That is carried. 15G is Administrative Report PW 024-2021, the Ontario Clean Water Agency Agreement. And a motion be resolved, the council for this city of St. Clair acknowledge receipt of Administrative Report PW 024-2021. The council directs staff to prepare the necessary bylaw to enter into an agreement with the Ontario Clean Water Agency for a 5-year term to provide the operation and maintenance services for the city's water and wastewater treatment facilities for consideration at the November 2nd, 2021 regular council meeting. So, moving and second, Councilor Ferrier, second by Councilor Jelly. Any comments? I think it's a pretty good deal we've got there, with especially the first year there. So all in favor of this motion? That is carried. 15H, Administrative Report RS 018-2021, the Recreational Department fee update for 2022 through 2024. And I got a motion be resolved, the council for the city of St. Clair acknowledge receipt of Administrative Report RS 018-2021. And the council directs staff to amend by law 2012-039, the departmental user fees, to update recreational fees for the years of 2022 through to 2024 for consideration at the November 2nd regular council meeting. So moved by Councilor MacArthur, second by Councilor Foley. Any comments? Councilor Ferrier.
Thanks, Your Worship. And I just wanted to congratulate the Recreation Group and Matt for the thorough review of the rates. Just one area that I have a little concern in, and that's the removal of the youth rates, and really focusing if they're not enrolled through minor hockey or figure skating, they wouldn't qualify for the youth rate. And I think we really should look at maybe finding a different way to be able to offer, if it is kids that are renting the facility, a reduced rate. I don't think charging them the commercial rate is the right message. And the second piece is when I look at the utilization of the arenas, and some prime time on the weekends where the ice is open and there may be opportunities to maybe offer a reduced rate. The staff are there, and it's the ice is just sitting there. So just something that I would like to see, maybe a different approach, or maybe different suggestions on where we can utilize that a little bit more effectively. Thanks.
Matt, do you want to make any comments on that at all, or?
So the change that's being proposed with the youth rate is really just for those who are individuals renting ice. In the past, we've allowed those who have told us that it's being used for youth rentals to have that discounted rate. The change being proposed is to move to a more standard type of fee structure that's prevalent throughout various municipalities, and is based upon time of use rather than type of use, which lends itself to some issues. I had some discussions with Councillor LaFerriere, and there are some strategies that we can try to implement that can offer some different options for people who want to use the ice and encourage the use of these recreational facilities for youth of various ages. And we'll start working on that to, again, offer some of these different options to better utilize our facilities as well as encourage youth participation.
Are we getting many hours of open ice during the weekends?
So we have seen some increases in open ice time available for usage. Some of our issues at the moment are the schedules that are being provided to us from our Minor Hockey Association have not been finalized for a longer period of time than we would expect at this point of the year. But with that said, it's been a pretty difficult start of the season for them, and so do want to cut them a little bit of slack for that. But are expecting some more smoothing out of these issues and offering some of this ice time to others. We're sort of at a point where we're in between ice sheets and availability. So it's sort of hinted at in the Recreation Master Plan that we're, again, a bit in between usage for between one rink and two. So we are going to struggle sometimes on filling our ice surfaces and encouraging their use. but we do our part to try to ensure that ice times are grouped together so we can have some efficiencies with staff time and that type of thing. So we're doing what we can to operate as efficiently as possible.
Any other questions, comments? Councillor Foley.
Yeah, thanks. I know one year, Matt, we allowed, it was like a 45-minute ice time or something like that. I think it was just before COVID we were going to try it. It was like a discounted rate if they had to take certain times, and it had to be like 45 minutes. There was no nets, and it was just for skating type thing.
So at the end of last season for the holiday time period, at the end of December, at that point in time, I don't recall the exact restrictions, but I believe we couldn't offer a regular public skating. So what we had done instead was to offer short blocks of time for a discounted rate to allow members of the public to book themselves and bring their own families together in their own bubbles. I think that was kind of what we were talking about at that time. So what ended up happening was we had a really great response to that, and it's something that I want to look at potentially offering as well, either this holiday season or into the future, to again try to fill up some of those time periods where we maybe aren't as busy as others. And what ended up happening was we were able to offer it a couple times, and then I think it was the 24th, we ended up closing because of COVID for the next month and a half or so. So that's kind of what I'm talking about when we can look at various options to try to foster some additional participation, because when we have some great assets, and I think there's a really high utilization rate. It's just about meeting the right timeframes and costing and opportunities for the public, and they will come out and use them.
Thank you, sir. I know our rates are still way below what most of the Southern Ontario rinks and that are, so I think we're still in pretty good shape there. So, any other comments? All in favor of this motion? That would be carried. Going into the bylaws, item 16. Be resolved the bylaw 2021-163 being a bylaw to appoint a municipal treasurer for the corporation of the city of St. George, Stephanie Levier. She's sitting in the audience. Welcome, Stephanie. So, repeals bylaw 2008-099. Bylaw 2021-164 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2009-051 to appoint a municipal lottery licensing officer and municipal lottery licensing clerk for the corporation of the city of St. George, and Stephanie as well. Bylaw 2021-165 being a bylaw to adopt an agreement between the city of St. George and the municipality of Temiskaming for the chief building official and chief inspector services. Bylaw 2021-166 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2021-095 to enter into a rental agreement with Jade Equipment Company Limited for the short-term rental of one tandem drive motor grader and two six-wheel drive graders. Bylaw 2021-167 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2013-054 as amended, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement with Wood, formerly AMAC Environmental and Infrastructure, for the groundwater monitoring at the Illibury and Liskeard landfill sites, a one-year extension. Bylaw 2021-168 being a bylaw to authorize the entering into an agreement with the Ontario Clean Water Agency, AQUA, for the operation, maintenance, and management of the water and wastewater treatment facilities and associated utility infrastructure within the city of St. George. Bylaw 2021-169 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2012-1039 as amended, being a bylaw to adopt schedules of departmental user fees and services for the city of St. George as Schedule D, the recreational fees. These bylaws be hereby introduced and given first and second reading. So we'll move to Councillor Jelly, second by Councillor Foley. All in favor? That is carried. And another motion be resolved that bylaw 2021-163, 164, 165, 166, 167, 168, and 169 be given third and final reading, be signed by the mayor and clerk, and the corporate seal affixed thereto. Moved by Councillor Ferrier, second by Councillor MacArthur. Any last comments? All in favor? That is carried. Scheduled council meetings. The next one is scheduled for Tuesday, November the 16th at 6 p.m. and then another meeting on Tuesday, December the 7th at 6 p.m. So we've reached our second question and answer period. Anybody got any questions? Councilor Whalen.
Yeah, not a question, just a bit of clarification. Looking back, the resolution regarding the Roma conference speaks to registration and expenses. Just for clarity, my registration is paid entirely by the Federation, so just so the public is aware of that. Excuse me, but I'll still be available to represent the city during any learning sessions or delegations. The other thing, and I'll apologize to Councillor Jelly because I really wanted to mention it during correspondence, is the third quarter report from DSAB. I encourage you to read that in detail because there's a ton of good information in there, not just for running DSAB, but also for running the city. So pull it out and read it and keep it handy. Thank you.
Well, turn my mic back on. For Roma, we have registered for the early bird registration fees there as well, so that's all we've done there. So saved us put $100 there to register before the deadline. So, any other questions? Members of council, members of the public, staff? So, if not, we're going to go into a closed session. We're going to adjourn for the next 10 minutes or so. Motion be resolved, the council agrees to convene in closed session at let's see, 6:40, I guess, to discuss under Section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001, personnel matter, identifiable individual for labor relations. So, moved by Councilor Whalen, second by Councilor MacArthur. All in favor? We are adjourned for the next 10 minutes, and then we'll go back into closed session. Thanks, everybody.